Welcome back to week 3 of our analysis on BMON Telecom. If you're familiar with BMON Telecom, they're an internet service provider that provides high-speed internet to hard-to-reach areas using satellite services. BMON is currently operating in the North American market with expansions planned for India and beyond. BMON's growth is expected to come from their India market expansion from now until 2024. Average customer rates in India in 2020 are expected to start around 100,000 up to 0.3 million and reach 11 million by 2024. 11 million is the 2% market share in India that they currently hold in North America, where they start to reach the point of market saturation and no longer gain customers at the same rate. Expansion into India will require very limited physical locations and is expected to have less than 750 employees. All customer service requirements are going to be outsourced in India to third-party service providers. Customer demand is expected to maintain through 2024, where new market expansion will have to happen afterwards. BMON's biggest threat from competitor actions remains with SpaceX's Starlink program. SpaceX's Starlink program is expected to launch similar numbers of satellites, providing a similar service over the next 5 years. BMON has the market advantage of being first in the market in India, with operations starting in 2020, whereas Starlink is not expected to start operations until late 2020, if not 2021, at only moderate coverage model. SpaceX's Starlink program is an extreme competitor due to the high-profile visibility of their CEO and lead designer, Elon Musk. With high-profile visibility, they may be able to steal this market share from BMON easier than other competitors. BMON's personnel model is to retain, recruit, and retrain. Their primary goal of holding on to personnel is their retention policies and decent pay. They will also recruit top talent throughout the industry in order to secure future growth. Retraining team members who may be not performing is also a key factor in BMON's success. Bringing on new personnel is incredibly expensive, and BMON expects to retrain team members who are not meeting expectations in order to get the last piece of their performance model into the meets and exceeds category. Currently, 4.65% of team members for BMON do not meet expectations. All of these team members have been with BMON for 2 to 3 years. This means we expect that BMON will retrain these team members rather than rehome them or remove them from their positions. In order to reach operational efficiency, BMON plans to launch less, but launch more. That may not make sense. However, the point for BMON's future operations efficiency is to launch less rockets with more satellites. So they'll be launching more satellites with less physical launches. By launching less physical launches in order to meet their satellite demands, BMON will open up their market to allow for additional government contracts. BMON started launching at a rate of 15 satellites per launch in 2018. By the end of 2019, they had increased that capacity to 50 satellites per launch. With increased efficiencies planned in both their rocket and satellite technologies, BMON plans to slowly grow the number of satellites per launch to 75, 100, 150, and eventually 250 satellites per launch by 2023. This will significantly grow their coverage maps as they expand to India and newer territories, allowing for the expansion to happen more rapidly and ensure consistent high-speed coverage in minimal amounts of time. Cash on hand has continued to be an issue for BMON. They have extremely high expenses but are pushing as hard as possible for additional sales. As sales in North America and subscriptions have stagnated, BMON has been relying on increased public sector launches when necessary in order to generate additional revenue. BMON uses their rockets in order to launch U.S. government missions to increase their revenue. They hope to reduce the necessity of this by increasing their subscriptions through their expansion to India. However, we'll always rely on this revenue stream in order to ensure that financial viability remains long-term. However, when in doubt, BMON returns to their same consistent investors and begs for more. For sales, BMON's primary mission is to stay on target with their project timelines. As stated before, North American sales have stagnated at 2% of the market share. In order to increase their sales and their subscriptions, BMON plans to launch in India in March 2020. After launch, the push for customer acquisition in India is the primary target and primary project. New products are not planned until 2025, with a new market launch in 2023. However, over the next 3 years, all focuses will be on customer acquisition in India. 20% customer acquisition is expected between 2021 and 2022, 50% between 2022 and 2023, with 90% of projected customers being acquired by 2025. BMON expects that once they hit the 90% customer acquired rate, they will significantly slow their growth in India and be required to move into a new market and new product lines in order to maintain their same growth and revenue streams. The highest risk for BMON comes from losing existing contracts with the U.S. government. While this is a very high loss risk, the likelihood is very low. Expansion in India is vital to advancing BMON's company mission. Expansion may not be risky, as the likelihood of losing the U.S. contracts is low, but even if financial loss was likely, BMON's mission has been stated and will always be to expand the access to internet across the globe. Senior leadership has consistently said that regardless of how much money they lose, expansion will always be their top priority, and you can continue to expect BMON to expand even at financial loss throughout the decades to come, as long as they continue to operate. That's all for this week's analysis. Thank you for joining us.